What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin, and today I am giving you my album review of Rush's album 2112. This would be their fourth studio album, which was released April 1st of 1976. As always, you can go back and watch my first listens and my initial thoughts and reactions to each of the songs on this album. I'll put it in a playlist for you below. But for now, let's jump into the album review. Developed after a tour from their last album, Caress of Steel, at this point the band had found themselves in some dire straits, with financial difficulties, mixed reactions from their music from audiences, and a label that was very close to dropping them. Rush assumedly had one last chance to prove themselves. And while the push from the Suits was for more radio-friendly and accessible material, the band actually took a huge risk, a big gamble, and went in the complete opposite direction with this album. I thought that this was one of the coolest things about Rush's history at this point, because while the pressure was on them to make more catchy songs and, like I mentioned, more radio-friendly hits, from the first track on the album, they do the complete opposite, instead trusting in themselves, in their creative process, and mostly within the music. The resulting album, with its side-long epic and 5 subsequent tracks, reached financial and critical success for the band and would solidly cement them as the progressive kings that they would eventually become. The album opens up with its side-long epic 2112, which I think is one of the best progressive epics in general. It's a multi-movement epic, possibly a statement from Rush that they were going to go in the complete opposite direction. That despite any sort of pressures that were around them, they were going to stay true to themselves. They were going to do what they did best, write good music. And good music it is. Based on a story written by Peart, basically the setting is in a not too distant future. All artistic freedoms and art and music and individuality are controlled by the priest of the Temple of Syrinx. It's a very dystopian vibe in which colors are basically sucked out of life itself. But at some point in the story, our nameless protagonist finds an old beaten down guitar, and the plot just continues very, very nicely from there. The piece begins with a very melodically heavy overture with very powerful fills, grandiose schemes, and the emergence of a brief and yet emotional solo from Lyson. And it's this overture that really gives us an entire worldview of what type of music we are to expect in this album. Geddy enters the picture with a bit of a foreboding whisper before exploding into his hard rock screeches, shaking these temple walls. And it's within this particular section that the music is possibly at its heaviest, not taking into account the ending. This section is told from the point of view of these controlling and overbearing priests, and it features very appropriately aggressive vocals from Geddy, maddened melodies, and dominating drums and big percussion. Now, without missing a beat, we switch completely into something different. We change scenes and discover alongside our protagonist, as mentioned, this beaten guitar. We ourselves are filled with wonder as we discover the music alongside him, and this out-of-tune guitar becomes slowly tuned, simple chords are played, and eventually the music becomes something of discovery, innocence, almost as if the first time that we ourselves may have heard music. It's a very colorful passage as Geddy describes with a childlike wonder the scene that takes place before us. Alex perfectly captures in his guitar playing the exhilaration and finally the ability to express oneself artistically. This is probably one of the most interesting musical passages within the album as a whole, as the symbols and the lyrics and the story really come together nicely within how the music is actually delivered. Now, as in the story, the protagonist presents this newfound gift, this guitar, to the priest. The music embodies his want to share this gift that he's found with others. Now, the joyous and adventurous tones of that music is counterbalanced by, once again, the angry dismissal from the priest with those same aggressive tones that we heard before. And this is just a clear-cut example of allowing the music itself to speak and allowing it to perform the stage play that we've been listening to. I would even say that Geddy deserves a Tony Award for his really varied performance in here, dramatically and switching seamlessly between roles. Very soon we enter a dreamlike setting that's filled with hope. It's filled with sadness. The guitar remains simple and yet with a dreamy echo alongside it. Eventually he comes to the end of his life just totally and utterly dismayed with the world that he finds himself in, having discovered the joy and enrichment that music and art could bring, but not having the ability to express it. This is followed by a huge climactic rocker which really showcases the band in totality and this grand sound that they have. How they're masterfully able to connect dots from point A to point B and eventually to point Z. The music intensifies, Alex's frantic and chaotic guitar sneakily slides in, signaling the arrival of a new power. This is just a very satisfying conclusion to the first side of the album. This first song easily becomes the foundation of just how great this band would become. As we flip over the album, we move into A Passage to Bangkok. We embark on a world tour of weed, a pot pilgrimage, a tour de toke, a globetrot for ganja. I'm sorry, I got a little carried away there writing this out. The appropriately smoky riff opens the track with a brief interruption from the Oriental theme.
God, I hate the Oriental theme.
The chorus is catchy, it's really nicely sung by Getty. Pure grooves out on the fills immensely, especially in the chorus here. We have a brief smoke break as Alex fills the room with a really nicely lit solo. This is one of the most fun and kind of like smallly epic ways to open side B of the album. Whereas the first side was like this huge sprawling epic with multi, suites and concepts and just everything. This is just appropriately not serious. It's a nice way of breaking the immersion in the best way possible and show that the band can write out a serious banger, but also at the same time just have a lot of fun.
But God, I really hate the Oriental riff.
It's only used a couple of times, but man, it is just cheesy in a way that I don't like.
Here we are about to enter another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind.
A journey into a wondrous land of imagination. We enter the Twilight Zone, based of course off of the popular mystery and sci-fi TV show. It actually pays a nice homage to its subject matter, to the themes that it is based on, and even with lyrics based on specific episodes of the show. You have a really powerful anthemic guitar within this track, a solid rhythm section with gorgeous melodies between the bass and the guitar.
I am absolutely in love
with this awesome shift that we get in this one into these mysterious vibes right in the chorus, most notably heard by Getty with his very subdued vocals, and soon accompanied by very faint melodies and whispery tones as well. Alex conjures up some arcane melodies. This perfectly captures the theme of the show that it's based on, and even lyrically there's a change into something uncanny. The tonal shifts are handled very well, it feels extremely fitting, and while I haven't mentioned Pure too much, I feel that he just kind of speaks for himself. I mean, he does a lot of the carrying in these tracks, all of them, but really this one as well. Lifeson provides some
life lessons in the next track, lessons.
We have a soft fading in of acoustic guitar, which is soon followed by a mellow bass line, passionate singing from Getty, an explosive chorus, huge drumming in this one. Lyrically, there's not a ton to say, it's pretty short, but it holds a valuable lesson on how knowledge, wisdom, and life experiences are passed down to us. How we should take the time to listen and perhaps learn from others who have come before. Alex nicely matching Getty's aggressive tones in the heights of the chorus, and despite the rockiness of the chorus, the verse does a great job of balancing it all out. And it's not too much longer after this that the song exits just as it came in, fading out slowly. Moving into Tears, the lights fade down, storm clouds appear, and slowly rain begins to pour. Or maybe it's not rain, maybe it's tears. Harmonious and haunting, this showcases the more tender side of Rush. We're caught in a moment of sadness and hard truths, perhaps the dealings of a strained relationship. You guys know that I love Mellotron, and the case is no different in this track. There is absolutely sublime use of it in here that really does feel like a downpour. It's emotionally crushing as well. The isolated playing of the guitar, the gentle bass plucks, creates a very rich sounding space. Pierre brings in the grander moments of the song, especially with the kick work, like it's really, really nice, especially in the midpoint of the chorus. And we get all of this before a brief and yet beautiful ending. Something for Nothing is the perfect summation of everything that we've had in this album. There's the perfect amount of sentimentality, hard riffs that we would expect, and a killer bass line, and a shredder of a solo from Alex. It also provides another and final life lesson from the band, the basics of which are, you reap what you sow, and if you don't plant seeds, how can you expect any fruit? So that was just a brief sum up of what I felt and my thoughts on the album. But let's move into my favorite moment, my favorite lyrics, and then my song rankings. So my favorite moment on the album is within 2112, and this is what I would call the discovery of music, the discovery of the guitar. I find the way that the music delivers the emotional tones and resonance of this person discovering a guitar for the first time does it justice. It feels like we're discovering music alongside with him. There's a gentle and childlike innocence to it, and you can at the same time feel the excitement begin to build, as it builds for us as well. This really is the perfect combining of music and story, which is just a testament to great songwriting. My favorite lyrics on the album are from the last track, Something for Nothing, and it is these specific lines as I'm about to read. What you own is your own kingdom. What you do is your own glory. What you love is your own power. What you live is your own story. In your head is the answer. Let it guide you along. Let your heart be the anchor and the beat of your own song. While one can't help and can't deny external factors, for the most part, you make your own destiny. You make your own kingdom. You are the king of your kingdom. Whatever you want out of it is whatever you make out of it. Whatever seeds you plant is the same kind of fruit that will grow and you will reap. And I like the advice that we get in these last few lines. Let it guide you along. Let your heart be the anchor. Let yourself, your emotions, your soul be the thing that always grounds you. Not brings you down, but grounds you so that you can make smart decisions in every decision that you have. And then finally, my song rankings for the album. 2112, Twilight Zone. A Passage to Bangkok, Tears, Lessons, Something for Nothing. At this point, I've heard a few of Rush's albums, and this one, in my opinion, ranks near the top of them. It has everything that I would want out of a Rush album, from epic storytelling to just hard rockers to emotion, fantastic drumming, fantastic guitar, great bass lines, and Geddes. Really, really inspired singing. I hope that you guys enjoyed the album review. Of course, you can let me know your thoughts on the album in the comments down below, as well as your favorite lyrics, your favorite moments, or your song rankings. You can also support the channel on Patreon if you'd like to, but you don't have to. I just hope that you enjoyed this specific video, and I hope that you have a great night, have a great day, have a great afternoon, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.